Alvin Kamara isn't carrying the football, he's carrying the team. We've got AK at Saints camp. As for Baker Mayfield, we'll tell you why he better not even try to carry his team. We've got Bake 2 at Browns camp. But first, when the silence was broken, did the weight get lifted? Why this year's version of Aaron Rodgers may be even more dangerous than last year's. This is the eve of NFL football. Come on, this should be a national holiday. This is NFL Total Access. NFL Total Access. My name is MJ Acosta-Ruiz, and it has been 178 games since the last NFL game. I mean, I think we can all agree that is way too long. So let's get back out there. Steelers and Cowboys Hall of Fame game. That's tomorrow. We'll get you ready today. But first, at Giants camp, we saw how quickly things can flare up. But at Packers camp, we're seeing how quickly things can chill out. Just like nothing ever happened. Aaron Rodgers on the field, the smooth release on display, that easy smile on his face, and a reminder of the good old days. Packers tweeting out this picture of Rodgers with Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, and our very own James Jones, whose interview with number 12 had us wondering if all this offseason drama really happened.
How good is it to walk back on this field and just be back out here with your brothers?
I mean, it's the best feeling. It was a little strange, I think, day one, just because I was gone for the entire offseason and contemplated my own future and the possibility of playing somewhere else as well. But when I'm back here, I'm 100% all in, you know. And you know me, you know what I'm all about. I love my teammates. I love competing. I do love practice. You know, I love to go out and give it to the young corner when I can and get after these guys, talk a little smack, especially with a new D coordinator in here. We got to let them know how it goes around here. But, you know, it's good to be back, man.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers, unbothered as we welcome in James Jones and Mike Robb. Guys, I mean, the Rodgers saga, it seems to be under control. I mean, he was behind the lens yesterday taking pictures at practice. Seems like he's in good spirits. So why don't we focus on this Packers team? I mean, what do we need to see for them to make it past this NFC Championship game and get back to another Super Bowl, James Jones?
You know, it's crazy because I actually had that conversation with him off camera. And we all know, Mike Robb knows, you have to play your best football in the playoffs. The Packers were lights out all season long, and then you get to the playoffs against the Buccaneers, and you're making little mistakes. You're giving up touchdowns before the half. You're fumbling the ball. You're turning the football over.
Scramble.
So he just said, we got to take advantage of the moment. This is a very good football team that they have there in Green Bay, and they got to take advantage of the moment. You have to be playing your best football when you're going into the playoffs, especially when you're talking about the NFC Championship and getting to the Super Bowl. And they weren't at their best. They haven't been at their best the last 2 years, and hopefully that changes this year. But they have to play their best football when it matters most, and that's not in the regular season. That's when you get in the postseason.
JJ, man, I agree with everything you said, man. I mean, I really do. You got to play your best football in January and February. And on third down, when you got that third down scramble with that lane wide open, Aaron Rodgers, you could have won the NFC Championship with just a scramble. And you would have took the decision out of the coach's hands for kicking a field goal. But you know what, JJ? That's a whole nother conversation, man. We ain't here talking about that. That was last year. We talk about this year. And for what I'm seeing from Aaron Rodgers is, especially since he came back, and this is something that I learned from Beast Mode, one of my best friends in the whole world. I used to always ask Beast Mode, dude, how come you don't ever come to OTAs, man? Like, how come, like, why don't you ever come to the off-season program? And this whole thing was, I want to have that love for football season when it's football season. And I think what you're seeing from Aaron Rodgers, when he took some time for himself, he talked about getting his mental health straight, you know, enjoying life again, taking as many trips as the COVID environment would allow him to take. I think I'm seeing a little bit more of a looser Aaron Rodgers. And JJ, you know him better than I do. I've never seen him, you know, taking cameras from the photographer and playing as much as we're seeing him play. When you did that interview, man, that big smile that he had, and it just seemed like he was just happy to be back. And I think sometimes we get enamored in our sport and saying that we just got to be around it all the time, all the time, all the time. And yeah, for a guy like me, a role player who was always, on the roster from 40 to 45 or something like that, I had to be there for the offseason, right? I was a special teamer. But guys like Aaron Rodgers, man, I think just having some time away from the game renewed his love for the game. And obviously, I want to say before I let you go, JJ, I love that press conference he had, man. I think every NFL player should look at that press conference that Aaron Rodgers did when he came back, man. He was clear. His message was clear. He knew exactly what he was saying, and he got his point across. So, yeah, I expect the Green Bay Packers to be better this year.
You know what, Mike Rob? First off, when I interview people, I make everybody smile, man. I make everybody happy, man. So you can be having a bad day, I'm going to make you smile. But no, he is in a good spot, man. He's happy. He's ready to go. He's ready to play some football. He's in a very good spot in his life. And I told y'all on this TV that Aaron Rodgers will be at Packers camp just because of how much he loves his teammates. This dude has never missed the offseason. He's always been there. Like you said, this is the best player in the world.
For that check, too.
You know what I mean? So he don't got to be at the offseason programs. He never missed. The reason why he's there is because he loves his teammates. And I think now that he has all this behind him and he could just go out here and play ball and spin it, not worry about none of that, and be out there with his brothers having fun, that's why you see the big smile on his face, man. And he's ready to go. I mean, they truly believe that this is their year to go win this whole thing, man.
Yeah, I mean, a whole summer off will do that to you. But to your point, he has something to prove. He won the MVP last season. He knows what he brings. It's time to go now. I like this new laissez-faire Aaron Rodgers coming through with the man, but I think this lends itself to potentially very good Packers season. All right, y'all, thanks. Meantime, across the NFC, Giants wide receiver Kenny Golladay left yesterday's practice early, holding the back of his left leg. So today, head coach Joe Judge said Golladay has been evaluated. But here's Coach with more on how his receiver is progressing.
In terms of Kenny, he's actually seeing a doctor this morning. We just broke meetings a second ago. I'll find out a little bit more about it. I would say in terms of a worst case scenario, I think we've kind of avoided that in terms of dealing with it. But we'll see what the timetable looks like. And again, injuries are different for every player based on what they are. So we'll have to see how his body responds and make sure we do right by him.
Carson Wentz's foot surgery was classified as a success, but now the recovery starts, and that could take 5 to 12 weeks. So we head to Westville, Indiana, where Tom Pelissero spoke with head coach Frank Reich.
Frank, a lot to talk about with the healthier football team. But let's start with your health. How are you feeling after missing the start of camp with COVID-19?
Well, thanks for asking, Tom. I feel great. Fortunately, I was one of the ones who was asymptomatic, so I felt good during it, but glad to be back here, feeling good.
So you come back, and your quarterback is gone. You said yesterday the surgical outcome for Carson Wentz was the best-case scenario.
That's right.
What is your level of optimism, if any, that he could be back closer to 5 weeks around week 1 than the 12-week part of that timetable?
Well, that's what I'm hoping, but you can't rush it, but I think it'll declare itself. And one thing that we heard from the doctors that was very, very clear is the first 2 weeks are virtually do nothing, just let everything heal. And then once you start getting into that first week or two, you're going to get a pretty early indication whether you're at the front end of that spectrum or more towards the middle. Hopefully you're never at the end of it, right? But secondly, I just know Carson's mentality, right? I mean, he don't want to miss, but he'll do what's best for himself. He'll do what's best for the team. And so we got to be smart about it, but we got to be aggressive about trying to get him back as soon as we can.
There is and will be a lot of speculation about you potentially trading for a veteran quarterback. How realistic, if at all, is that scenario in your mind? And how's young Jacob Eason done with his opportunity?
Jacob's done well. He had a particularly good day today. That's really all we're focused on. Chris and I really haven't been talking about trades or anything like that. We're focused on the guys we got. We're happy with our quarterback room. We're going to continue to push those guys to get them better and think we have a good supporting cast and can play winning football with the roster we have.
Your all-pro guard, Quentin Nelson, suffers a similar freak type of foot injury right after Carson. Every year I feel like I talk to you at camp and there's something going on. Do you ever start to feel like you're just a little bit cursed from an injury perspective?
No, I really don't. I feel like, man, I'm so... well, first of all, let me just, the freak nature of back-to-back Carson and Quentin. You think, what's crazy? But my conversation with both Carson and Quentin is, you know what, guys, who knows why crazy stuff like this happens, but, you know, the way we think around here is, hey, maybe this little setback now is protecting us from a bigger setback that might have happened. You know what I mean? Why not be optimistic? Why not think about it that way? I've experienced things that I think happen like that, so I'm looking at it like, hey, if at some point both of these guys had
experiences that we've had and continue to grow off our foundation, you know, harp on the little details that we have to have our bread and butter completely down and then truly expand in our offense.
Being this is your second year in this offense, how does that help you embrace that team leader role, being that you don't have to focus quite as much on just exactly what you have to do to learn a new playbook?
Yeah, I think being a leader and getting the best out of my guys is one of the biggest reasons of why I'm here. And, you know, until I have a true grasp of the whole offense and the whole system, and I feel comfortable now, you know, obviously I'm still trying to push myself and learn the little nuances, but when I'm able to kind of put my arm around guys and push them and coach up the little details, to me, that's the best part about my game, is elevating the guys around me.
And saw that a little bit yesterday, talking to Demetric Felton, who's a young guy playing two positions here. How does this offense evolve as you add these new pieces? As it's 2.0, you guys can actually be here in person. You guys can actually have meetings. You guys can actually try to build that team chemistry that every team had so many hurdles to clear last year.
Yeah, I think first and foremost it starts with us, you know, establishing the run game, being physical, doing the things that we do best, and that starts with all 11 guys. Obviously up front, we have a tremendous O-line, great running backs. You know, we're a physical team, so we have to harp on that to set up the play-action game, and then when it comes to the passing game, it's about little details, and when you're able to meet in person and get all these reps together and not have to have random days where you miss it, it's nice for us to be able to have all these reps and you know, grow from that.
I heard you recently saw your coach without a mask for the first time.
He's got a lot more gray hair in his beard than I thought.
Odell Beckham, he missed the second half of last season. Your offense got on a roll. Now that Odell is back from injury, how important is it for him to be able to get here in training camp and get those reps and find his fit with this offense?
You know, it's obviously extremely important for us to continue to get reps. We did in mini camp. We did when he came down to Texas. And so we're continuing to build that chemistry on the field. But, you know, it's the time off the field when it comes to that trust, the you know, just knowing where your guy's going to be at all times. And he's really excited to get back into it. You know, he saw the success we had once we figured out the scheme and the offense and we got rolling. And, you know, he's excited to get back.
I want to talk about the contract. For Nicholas Jamal Chubb, not for you. You took to Twitter. Everyone took to Twitter when Nick got his deal done. How important is it for that guy who never opens his mouth, but always busts his tail, for that locker room to have that deal done?
I mean, Nick's a guy that everybody in the whole league, in any business, you should want working for you. I mean, he just does his job, doesn't say much, and I mean, he truly enjoys and fights for his teammates.
Yet? I watched his presser. He didn't smile.
He's not going to smile during that, but I'm getting him to smile. That's pretty much one of the biggest life accomplishments I've had so far. But I mean, that guy deserves the world, and I think the best part about him is he signed his contract, shows up to work the next day, and works the exact same way, if not harder. And for our guys to see that, that's just a great example of leadership and who he is as a person.
I've been in town since training camp started. All Browns fans want to talk about is Super Bowl, Super Browns 2022. How important is it for your team to be able to block out some of that noise and just focus on what's important now?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our guys have hit on it. You know, every team, every player that plays in the NFL should set their expectations at the very highest, which is the Super Bowl. And that's exactly correct. But to get there, you have to lay the foundation. You have to lay those building blocks and continue to grow. And so that's what training camp's for, is getting the little details down and continuing to, you know, work with each other and learn each other and go from there. And so we set high expectations, but when it comes to the outside noise, you know, you don't listen to it, good or bad. It's never going to help you. It's just the case in point, and it never helps. So you set your own expectations, and you trust the guys in your building, and you respect that.
But man, there was a lot of noise. You even said on the podium a couple of days ago, like every time you look up in the off season, there's another talking head show. I mean, we at the network put up a "Can the Browns win it? Is this Baker's?" I mean, every single. Could you go anywhere without seeing that on a TV?
No, probably not. I mean, I tried not to watch too much of it, but it's, you know, when when it gets closer to football time, people are talking more about it. But that's the excitement of everybody being able to, be back in person and see this stuff. I mean, it's truly, Cleveland, like I said, we're trying to reset the standard here. And for people to be able to enjoy that process along with us is why this makes it such a great sports town.
You said one day in Indianapolis that you're the guy to turn this around. It is turned around, and now it is time to take that next step. Baker Mayfield, is great to have you here. Good luck this season.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Baker Mayfield here in Berea.
All right, so Baker Mayfield set career highs in wins and passer rating in 2020. Actually, the Browns were 7-0 when Baker had 100 or more passer rating. All of this, all these stats you see right here, in their first season under head coach Kevin Stefanski. Guys, you know what really stood out to me about that interview? I feel like we've seen the evolution of Baker Mayfield year after year. Every time he's a little bit more mature, more poised, more sure of his role, right? I mean, it's the leadership for me. That's very, very prominent now. But, Rob, what do you want to see out of Baker now in year 4?
Well, first of all, MJ, you hit it right there on the head. The evolution that I've seen from this young man has been amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed that interview by Joe Thomas and Andrew. Like, they got everything out of Baker, and he didn't talk about waking up dangerous and all that type of stuff. He talked about handing the football off, man. He knows what makes this team go. He knows what the secret ingredient is for this Cleveland Browns team to be successful. And the secret ingredient is handing the ball off to Nick Chubb, leaning on this offensive line, leaning on Coach Callahan, who is, in my opinion, one of the 1 or 2 best offensive line coaches in the National Football League. The way that guy coaches the zone run, oh my goodness, JJ, you may not be excited as I am because I'm a runner, but at the end of the day, Baker understands that play action pass, move in the pocket. I don't have to be the one win games with my arm, not every single week. I have 2 1,000-yard backs. Think about that, guys. They have 2 1,000-yard backs, 2 guys in Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb who are very capable, each of them, of being the lead back, very capable, each of them, of catching the ball out of the backfield, running zone scheme, running gap scheme, doing whatever it needs to be done to win football games. And Baker can just be explosive in the play action and be Baker in those special moments. And so I think the sky's the limit for this Cleveland Browns offense, and I know Alex Van Pelt, offense coordinator, and Kevin Stefanski, they're going to be ignorant about running the football. And when you do that and you play that bully brand of football, it just opens up things downfield, and it makes playing the quarterback position, like you're seeing on the screen right there, a lot easier.
You know what? It makes me feel good, man, just to see all the excitement about Baker and the Brownies, because I've been telling everybody about Baker and the Brownies. But to hear Mike Rob keep going on and on and on, I love to hear it, man. Baker and the Brownies is going to be real, and he is very smart. Hand the football off to Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. But what he did say, too, is, and then we could get to our play-action pass, what I am very special at, and I have Juice and OBJ out there as well. And this is going to be the blueprint for the Browns. Let's run the ball. Let's get Baker Mayfield in regular 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, where we can get to the whole playbook. And when he play action pass, you see the passer rating, it's only going to get better than it was last year coming into this year. He's going to be better at making decisions, 2nd year in the offense. He is going to take off. I believe his numbers are going to get much better in the play action pass, in the passer rating, touchdowns, all that is going to get much better because he truly knows this offense, knows where he needs to go with the ball, and he's going to get one-on-one coverage on the outside because of these 2 1,000-yard backs, just like Mike Robb said. And this is going to be tough on any defense coming in here to try to play Bake and the Brownies to try to slow this offense down with the 2-headed monster and Bake, play action pass, and slinging that thing over to y'all.
JJ, you snuck it in there real sly, but my ears perked up. Odell Beckham Jr. coming back after that knee surgery, no doubt always ready to prove his doubters wrong. What version of OBJ do you think we'll see?
You know, I had a chance to talk to Odell out here in Arizona because his agent lives out here and my little kids play for his agent. And just talking to him, I was in training camp with him when he was with the Giants, and you just seen that dog. You seen that hunger in him, that I'm the best. I don't care who's throwing me the football. I don't care if we're doing running back passes and they throwing it up. Just throw it up in my direction, and I will go make a play, and I'll make everybody look good, and I'll be special. I seen that look in Odell's eyes when I was talking to him, like, it is my time to go. I'm not worried about any of this stuff off the field, what I did, one-hand catches, whatever. This is my time to go, and I think you are going to see the best Odell that you've ever seen, even after this injury coming into this season. He's about to go to work.
JJ, no cap there, bruh. You telling the truth right there. I think Odell gets 1,000 yards this year. Okay, I think he's grown up. He's not concerned about the receptions. I think he gets 1,000 yards, and I think you see him blocking safeties in the run game and being explosive in the passing game. That's the formula for the Cleveland Browns to win.
You know, I think the continuity that Siciliano mentioned earlier, same head coach 2 years in a row, Odell with probably a boulder on his shoulder coming in for this season. This is going to be a really exciting team to watch. Last year, they exceeded expectations, right? Now, they don't just have to meet them, they got to crush the doubters, too. All right, guys. Thanks for coming through. Okay, so full disclosure here, y'all. As we get ready to continue here on NFL Total Access, we are, of course, just 24 hours away from the first game of the season. We'll have a lot more of that coming on. And as we come up tomorrow, we also have a nice little sneak peek for you guys. I believe we have just a little exclusive here on little something the Browns are working on, building the Browns. You can catch that next episode on YouTube. Here's a sneak peek for you.
We like to have some competitions as they walk off the field, some challenges. Just one more shot before they go into the building, before they hit the shower, before they get to the training room. We want them to just think about competing one more time.
I'm about to double flip mine or something.
15 yards. By the way, I ran 21,000 simulations for every game this entire season, so that's the most likely number, and it's a ridiculous number. But Patrick Mahomes, nobody spreads the field more horizontally or vertically from the beginning of the game than the Chiefs, meaning those passes are happening early and often, and with this new O-line, it's going to be even better. But when it comes to touchdowns, the guy who's going to connect for the most forecast to be none other than Tom Brady with 38. Why? Well, because he gets all of his weapons back. The red zone is a big source of success. And those deep passes, that's where Tom Brady really thrived last season, and he projects to, again, do that this season.
It's the dedication to the simulation, Cynthia. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's move on to the running backs. Who will be the rushing yards leader?
Well, for the third straight time, Derrick Henry tops this list. It's really hard to get better than Derrick Henry. But with these elite pass-catching options, he actually forecasts to face fewer stacked boxes, meaning he can get that full head of steam, and good luck breaking a tackle once he reaches full speed. I mean, that just doesn't happen. And I have 1,662 yards projected for him, making it, if he does it for the third straight season, this would be the first time since Emmitt Smith in 91 to 93 to be the rushing yard leader thrice. And then in the end zone, though, I want to talk about the guy that our two guys were talking about in the last segment. That's Nick Chubb. He forecast to have the most rushing touchdowns with 12. His use in the red zone, he was better when people were closer to him last season than any other running back. He gets those yards after contact big time, which is a really big deal for Baker Mayfield, especially behind this great O-line.
Fits right into the projection we have for the team this year. Okay, finally, Sid, we have the receivers. Who will be the receiving yards leader for 2021?
Well, Devontae Adams, of course, because he's got Aaron Rodgers back. And really what really stands out about him is use in the slot, where he caught almost 84% of his targets, second best in the NFL last season. Those yards after he catches the ball are super clutch for him, and also the deep ball with Aaron Rodgers. And then, of course, keeping it in the NFC North, this one was a little bit of a surprise, but your reception leader is going to be Justin Jefferson in just his sophomore campaign. I have 97 catches slated for him. Why? Well, of course, the use in the slot, but this guy is one of just 2 players who had at least 100 receiving yards on 7 different routes. That's ridiculous. The only other guy to do it was Travis Kelce. So Justin Jefferson should haul in the most passes this season.
If you guys didn't take notes on this, don't worry, because please believe we'll be running this tape back at the end of the season to give Cynthia some love when she nails these predictions. For now, you can check out her full article on NFL.com/Freeland. Now, Justin Jefferson was the top rookie wide receiver last year, but let's send it over to M-Rob and JJ to talk about this year's rookie receivers. It's time for Impact Rookie, presented by Modelo. Who has that fighting spirit, M-Rob?
All right, JJ, let's get it, man. Let's hear your top 3 impactful rookies, wide receivers, going into 2021.
I got you, dog. I got you. Number 3, I hope I say his name right, is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Listen, He is going to see a bunch of targets over there in Detroit with Jared Goff. This dude right here, right when he steps out on the field, is a starter. They gave up all their receivers in free agency. This kid is going to have to be a big impact, and he got the whole route tree. He has hands. He can make all the plays. I like what he brings. And then, number 2, over there with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, it's Rashad Bateman. Listen, he's coached by the greatest receiver coach in the world, and that is Keith Williams. And if you don't know about him, you will know. Rashad Bateman is an absolute dog. He's a big body. He has speed. He has routes. He has hands. And if he's covered, you still can throw it up and give him an opportunity to go make a play, and he will go up and make a play. This is going to be a big-time weapon for Lamar Jackson. He's going to have a huge year over there. And then numero uno, number 1, is JoJo Burrow's old teammate, and that's Jamar Chase. What can he do? Release off the line of scrimmage like Devontae Adams, yak after.
Now, it feels a little bit different this year than any of the first 4 years you had here. Quarterback battle, a couple guys gone, a couple coaches gone. What's it like for you?
Man, I mean, it obviously is different, you know. People leave, but you know the main thing is the main thing. You know, life goes on, the game keeps going. The game doesn't stop for anybody. So you know we're adapting, but I mean it's the same motto, same message every year. We're trying to do what we can to win.
But nobody knows how to stop Alvin Kamara. Like your game, and I feel like it's still on an arc. Tell me, I watch you do these videos of your core training, off-season training. Like, this is a full-time gig for you. Like, is it making you better?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal every year. I mean, I get with my trainers, I get with Sharif, I get with Swayze, and we just, you know, we craft up. Like, we sit down and talk about the past season, and then we move forward. Like, what do we need to get better at? What do we need to focus on? What are some things that we're good at that we don't want to lose focus of and you know, keep stacking on? So it's a constant evolution.
I'm going to give you a chance to throw a little love here, Alvin.
Gotcha.
Like, I love your offensive line, and I know you do too.
Yeah.
And you're now going to be with the same 5 for the second year with Caesar at right guard. Tell me what that relationship is like. Game planning, game day, practice. Man, and when it really begins to build.
Like you said, I mean, I love my O-line, and then now we going on 2 years and 3 years of being with the same guys. I mean, it's like we're in each other's heads. Like, some things that Teron and Eric and Caesar do and Big Pete and Ram do, like we don't even got to talk about it. It's like a play's called and we look at each other, break the huddle, and it's like we're on the same accord. It's lovely.
You have owned this division for 4 years in a row, yet the Super Bowl winner is in your division. Tell me what that first game and that matchup is going to be like for you guys.
Man, I mean,
do you think about that in the offseason?
I don't really, I'm going to be honest, I don't really think about that, man. I'm just thinking about what we got to do to get better and be good in this building.
Okay.
And then it translates to Sunday. You know, we get our work in and we do what we got to do. But, you know, I mean, it's going to be a battle. It's always a battle. It's a battle every year. You know, anybody can win.
Is this offense going to look different this year, Alvin? Obviously, the quarterback is gone. We got a battle going on. In what way what we can look for?
I think it's gonna be different. You know, we've been explosive. We've been high power. We've been smart, and we've been we've been all on one page on offense the past 4 years. I mean, since I've been here, I think it can be the same. You know, it's gonna take some work. We got camp going on. We got 2 quarterbacks coming in battling their ass off. I mean, it's gonna be fun. You know, these guys are learning, and we got young guys on the outside. We got Callaway. They got
everybody. Opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it's opportunity. It's so much opportunity. We got people that can make plays. So, I mean, as long as they keep working, we're good.
Good luck to you. Stay healthy. And just turn around there. That's the end zone, Al.
No doubt,
like,
man. Familiar.
Nobody knows the end zone like you know the end zone.
It's a real familiar play.
Go find us some this year.
No doubt.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Vaughn.
Well, he always looks like he's just ready to get back out there, doesn't he, JJ and Emrab? All right, but truly, more eyes on Kamara, of course, this season. The Saints starting the season without Michael Thomas, who had that surgery on his ankle, is expected to miss at least that first chunk there. Emrab, so how do the Saints overcome this, not starting with Michael Thomas?
Alvin Kamara, and more Alvin Kamara, okay? Yeah, JJ. More Alvin Kamara. You talk about 21 scrimmage touchdowns last year. This guy can do it all. He can beat you in the running game. You can line him up as your #1 receiver, and he can beat you in the passing game as well. This guy carried the team in spots last year, and they had Drew Brees. They had that Hall of Fame quarterback. So I think you lean on him a little bit more. I think that the silver lining in all of this, and Baldy mentioned it in the interview, this offensive line is coming back intact when you talk about Andrews Pete, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, Ryan Ramczyk. Like, these guys are a unit, and your offensive line, that's like the engine of your car. You can't do much in the National Football League if your offensive line isn't right. And the Saints are returning a fully intact offensive line with guys that can dominate at the point of attack. So from a run game standpoint, I think Alvin Kamara is going to have his way. I still think you're going to need a guy like Latavius Murray to come in and spell Alvin Kamara, because you can't give him the ball every single play. And like you said, MJ, without Michael Thomas being there, you're going to see defenses load on the box. You're going to see those safeties not at 12 yards like they would be if Michael Thomas was in the game. They're going to be more around, and JJ know what I'm talking about, 9, 10 yards, where those receivers are going to have to really get in there in the run game and try to block them. But they have that quarterback battle going on. I think regardless who the quarterback is, you lean on Alvin Kamara and this offensive line, and I think you'll be successful at the end of the day.
Well, I'm going to switch it up a little bit, and I'm going to say more Alvin Kamara, more Alvin Kamara, and more Alvin Kamara. He cannot touch the football enough. Michael Thomas not in the building, not there at practice. He cannot touch the football enough. They have to find ways to get him the ball more and more and more. And listen, his load is just going to have to be heavy until Michael Thomas comes back, and then Michael Thomas could take some of those targets away from him. But we don't know what any of these young fellas is going to bring. And what is Sean Payton good at? Sean Payton is an excellent schemer. He's excellent at dialing up these plays and making these young guys look very good, and certain receivers and tight ends that we may have thought wouldn't have had an impact. Sean Payton knows how to make them look good, but we don't know that yet. But what we do know is number 41, number 6, whatever number he is going to wear this season, they have to find ways to get him the ball more and more and more if Michael Thomas is not on that offense. And if he doesn't touch it enough, this Saints offense is not going to be able to move that football.
Yeah, I'm not saying every game is going to be a 6 rushing touchdown game, but maybe it is, according to your recipe here, guys. All right. Saints, Alvin Kamara with a lot on his plate. All right, fellas, thank you. All right, the Browns have what many believe is the most talented